new managers. There's been an article from Matt Law, and also Paul O'Keefe has been chiming in on the matter as well. Paul O'Keefe says that he keeps hearing De Zerbi. So he says, let's see.
De Zerbi.
That's what he keeps hearing. In terms of the Matt Law article, let's go
on the Spurs experiment. Yeah.
So with Matt Law, he says the early expectation from insiders is that Spurs will most likely try and appoint an external candidate to replace Thomas Frank, as opposed to naming someone on the staff as interim, as it remains to be seen whether the club make a permanent appointment or ask someone to take the team until the end of the season. He says Roberto De Zerbi and Maurizio Pochettino are on Tottenham's shortlist to replace Thomas Frank. He also says Robbie Keane is among the interim manager candidates considered by Tottenham. He says it's unclear whether De Zerbi would be willing to jump in at Spurs right away, although he is believed to be keen returning to the Premier League. There is an acceptance that it would be impossible to appoint Pochettino until after the World Cup.
If Robbie Keane is willing to come, I'll definitely take him.
I just can't see that being a viable option.
I'm just saying, if he's willing to come,
I mean, I would take it for sure.
I would take him. And, as I've said, you never know, because, yes, he's at Ferencvaros. They are still in Europa League, doing quite well, actually.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they're doing in the league. I'm guessing they're top, and he's doing a good job. But let's be honest, unless he, wins the Europa League or something or gets far, what's better for his career? Having an interim, depending on how he does, obviously. But if he does well, comes in at Tottenham and actually does all right for 6 months, gets us away from relegation, has a decent record, what's better for his career? Doing that or winning the league at Ferencvaros? Where's that going to lead him in terms of?
But it's not about just winning the league for Ferencvaros. What if he gets to the semi-finals of the Europa League, has a Bodo-style Europa League thing? I think that might be bigger for his career.
100%. Doing well in Europa League would be big for his career, but it's whether he thinks maybe coming to Tottenham would be easier to do that and doing a good job here and trying to get something out of this team. Because then all of a sudden there's all eyes on him. You're in the Premier League. Other teams might look at you. You can get jobs off the back of it. Obviously, Ferencvaros, that might happen as well. But he has to weigh up both.
I think he's such a young manager. He's got such time to make his name in the game. You know what I mean? So I think he's onto a good thing. He's enjoying his time at Ferencvaros, and I think he would probably decide to stay rather than come on an interim role. Because I think jobs will open up in the future if he does well, and which he is doing well at Ferencvaros.
Yeah, it depends. No, I agree with you. If he does good enough job at Ferencvaros, but you have to do an exceptional job, whereas Tottenham in the Premier League, you just have to win a few games. And people look at Mason. He won a few games and he got a championship job on the back of it. Van Nistelrooy won 3 games at Man United manager. He got a Premier League job off the back of it. I know it ended up not doing great, but I'm just saying you can get jobs literally just winning a few games, and you can get jobs off the back of that. So Keane might look at that and think maybe there's an opportunity, especially Tottenham, a club I love, chance to save them as well. He might look at that and think there's an opportunity. He has spoken before about being at Ferencvaros, how much he enjoys it, and he wouldn't take a championship job or something else.
Yeah.
Or even, I think, did he say interim specifically? I can't remember. But
he was talking about championship.
I think he was talking about championship. He was like, this is a great opportunity for me. So, look, the likelihood is he turns us down. But I'm just saying, I think it's worth asking the question. And if he is willing to come as interim, I think that's a good in-between. And maybe we've got a good young manager who,
I would love to see it happen.
By the way, I've been, watching a few videos of how he speaks and what the kind of football he wants to play. He wants to play attacking football, pressing and all that kind of stuff. So maybe that would be a good in-between.
He uses a 3-4-3 a lot.
3-4-3. I mean, I would like to see Robbie Keane see what he can do here. In terms of the other guys, Pochettino we've obviously discussed, and obviously we love him. In terms of him doing a dual role, I'd love to explore that if that's possible. If not, sounds like, as Matt Law, you said, there is acceptance he won't be possible before the World Cup. So if that rules that out, we have to wait for him, then that's so be it. The interesting thing is, if we can get De Zerbi now and we have a good conversation with him and we're convinced it could be a good fit, would you rather wait for Poch or go for someone like De Zerbi now? That's an interesting prospect. I'll definitely be calling De Zerbi and have a conversation. Whether it's the right fit,
I'm really not interested in De Zerbi, to be honest.
I am very interested in De Zerbi. I really like him as a manager.
It will all end in tears in probably a year's time from now if we were to hire him now. That's
but he's a good manager. It's all about whether it's the right fit or not.
That's the thing, and I don't think it is the right fit.
But I'm saying it's worth having a conversation. I think I don't think it's something to be dismissed out of hand. Is my point. I think it's worth having that conversation.
He's a ticking time bomb. That's the reality.
He might be. Same like same with Conte, but Conte did a good job over a short amount of time, but obviously it ended badly.
He did a good job for 6 months, and it all fell apart because he didn't get what he needed. It'll be the same with him. That was part of it, and also there was a lot of personal issues going on as well, which probably led to it, and that was obviously a big problem. But can you imagine De Zerbi trying to manage under this hierarchy?
Yeah, but he managed. I know Brighton are well run, but could we get better? Could we, if he's got a say in what's going on? We saw the football he played at Brighton. Could he get us playing similar football? And I think.
Yeah, but I think it's not just the football that we need to look at. We need to look at fits and personalities and everything. This next managerial appointment is like so important.
I think De Zerbi plays better football than Poch. I think it's more modern football. I think the football would work better. It is really great on the eye. The fans would love it. The question is him. The question is his mentality, his personality, and whether he'll lose patience with the hierarchy, whether he'll be calling them out publicly, whether, we've just seen what's happening with Marseille.
We probably want that, don't we?
He's just, there's fans who, people will say, he's not a yes man. So is that what you want? Yeah, maybe. But I know that's not the question. It's more in terms of, we've just seen what's happened with Marseille, right? A few bad results. He was actually in the title race not long ago. All of a sudden, a few bad results.
I don't actually know what happened with Marseille. I didn't even know until this morning that he'd left his job.
I don't know if it's official yet, but there was a lot of rumours. Is it official, people? I don't know. But I know he is a very strong rumours. I think Romano said it, that he's left. So I'm guessing it's happened. He's a hothead.
I think it's another Conte. Basically an attacking Conte.
Right, but maybe we could do with that mentality.
If he's going to be here for the long term, then I think it's something to consider. But if he is like a Conte and he jumps ship way too often and too quickly, then there's just no point in it. We need to build a long-term plan here, and you can't do that under a ticking time bomb.
As I've said, I think you're probably right. I think that's probably where we'll land, even after a conversation when all things considered. There's probably just too much doubt about whether he will not end up getting frustrated and end up blowing up and calling people out and all them. Like,
you don't know that's going to happen through a conversation. You know that's going to happen through his past.
You could assume it. I mean, it might happen.
Like with a conversation, like they had a conversation with Conte. He rejected and then he came to the club because we paid him enough money. But surely they were under no illusions of what Conte is actually like, and it ended up being that way. It'll be the same with De Zerbi. Likely,
yeah. But I think it's worth exploring. I really like De Zerbi. I think he's a really great manager. He's a very forward-thinking manager. I think he plays, at the moment, more current football, better football than Poch. And if you're basing it purely on what kind of manager, what kind of football we're going to play, and what's going to be more successful, I think De Zerbi's the choice. But if you're basing it on who's going to be a more sustainable guy, who's going to be someone who's more likely to build something around for the long term, maybe more long lasting, and someone who obviously get the fans on side very quickly, Poch is the probably better candidate there. But who's maybe more likely to win you something? I'd probably argue De Zerbi.
If he's here long enough to win us something, maybe. But Poch has shown that he can work in the parameters of these four walls of this football club. He's shown he can make us relevant. He's shown his ability to build the club. I think he can rebuild it. And he's shown his ability to work with young players, and we've got a lot of young talent coming through now. And I think Pochettino's the guy, man. I think he's a sustainable choice. I think he's a choice that the fans can get behind. He's got credit in the bank for slow starts and stuff like that. He's got an attacking philosophy of play. I think he ticks every box, Pochettino, in my opinion.
It's whether he's right now the football he plays is as forward thinking as it was back when he came, and not forward thinking in terms of his intent, forward thinking in terms of how ahead of the game he was, right? How he was at the forefront of tactics. I felt when he first came. I don't know if that's the case anymore, unless he's changed a few things. I don't know. You never know. But I'm just saying the way he plays was revolutionary at the time. I feel like Zerbi is more ahead of the game on that front at the moment.
Yeah, and that's fair enough, but it doesn't mean that Poch's style of play can't work. I think it can work, and it will work, and it's proved to work.
Yeah, but as I say, Mourinho's style of play is proven to work because it's won trophies, but it's not anymore. It's people have moved past it. Have people moved past Poch's? I'm not saying definitely no. I'm just saying there's a conversation to be had there.
I don't think so. And I think people that are of that opinion, I think it's a bit hyperbolic, because I think we've seen, even in his recent stint at Chelsea, yes, we know that he needs to come in and feel the players and, you know, get them to join his methods and everything like that. He needs a lot of training. He needs time on the training pitch. Second half of the season, it got a lot better and it yielded results. So there's no reason why that can't happen at Tottenham.
It did, and he had a good second half of the season, but because he didn't get that second season, we'll just never know where it was.
But we saw an upward trajectory.
Yeah, we did. No, 100%. But I don't think it was proof that that his tactics are still like as relevant as they were.
But it proved that it can yield results, because it got consistent results for the second half of the season.
Yeah, it did. It did, 100%. And there was an upward trajectory.
And also, like, if we're not going to be in Europe next season as well, like, we know that Pochettino needs that time on the training pitch. To have Pochettino take us through into a season with no Europe, I think it could speed up that process as well.
I think, to be fair, I think these boards they're too cowardly to hire someone like Zerbi.
For sure.
They wouldn't want that headache. But I think it's worth having that conversation.
And if it's not Poch or De Zerbi or Robbie Keane, who else is there? It's like an outside-the-box manager, like an Italiano, like a Sebastian Hoeneß.
Well, the guy from Celta Vigo, they're saying apparently a lot of people are very big on him. Yeah, I mean, if they're saying they want someone external, and I'm guessing that's saying it's not guaranteed to be Heitinga. It's difficult to really see what direction we go in.
I think they're saying that now, but I think they'll ultimately end up landing on Heitinga. I don't think they have long to make this decision.
And they clearly just don't have a plan, do they? They just sacked Fran. They're like, we'll deal with it. We've got 12 days.
How dumb can you be, right, when this has been on the cards for weeks now, if not months? How dumb can you be? You've got to this point and you still haven't sounded out an interim. Like, the interim should already be in place right now.
Absolutely. I can't remember when I said it, but I think it was in December. I said I would be sounding out replacements already, or sounding out.
Yeah, and they didn't. They haven't.
They again. This is pretty much what we said. Like, that West Ham game, it's almost like they never even considered this might not work until that West Ham game. Then after that game, it was like, oh shit, maybe we actually might have to start doing something. And even then, they've given him a stay of execution. There's still no plans in place.
So that means
they could have started looking after the West Ham
surely that
game.
means after the West Ham game, all those reports were bullshit. Because if they actually thought that they were going to sack him, and if we lost that Dortmund game, they would have sacked him, then surely they would have been looking at replacements from then. Well, clearly it was all bullshit, and they just wanted to give him till the end of the season.
Yeah,
I think they feel it's just completely untenable.
No, I think they were thinking about it after the West Ham game, but landed on, okay, we're going to stick by him. And I think, but what they should have done really is, okay, we're going to stick by you, but we're going to start sounding out some other alternatives, because in case in the likelihood that you do lose a few more games and we are dragged into it, then we have some contingencies. But it looks like what they've done is they've said, we're going to stick by you, and because they want to be loyal to their manager, they haven't spoken to anyone or anything, and they'll just be like, yeah, it'll be fine with Frank, he'll turn it around. And now they're sitting here for a few weeks later, and it's become untenable, and now they're like, oh shit, now we actually have to find someone, but let's just get rid of Frank first, because everyone's baying for blood. Announce that, and then we'll deal with it. But this is no planning, there's no forward thinking, it's all just reactive, and this is why we're in this situation.
I'll tell you what though, now, as long as this decision goes on, I know there's no game for 11, 12 days now against Arsenal, but when things go wrong, there's no manager to hide behind now. There is no manager to hide behind now. So if things carry on going in the same manner that they're doing, they have got nowhere to hide. And it's their decisions that have put us in this mess. So they're the ones that are going to be getting the full brunt of the fans' criticism now, aren't they?
Absolutely. And it was the focus had already turned to them at some points. When I was at United away, there was some muted chance of Enoch out, but there was some Enoch out chance. There was obviously a big chance of Romero's right at the border shite. So there was already there was obviously protests that failed, but there was protest planned, which is already visible. As much as the protest failed, don't get me wrong, and no one turned up, right? But what was happening was you had all the guys Billy T and whatever, going on all these podcasts and even on mainstream places, they were talking about it. BBC Radio 5 Live, Talk Sport, they were talking about these places, right? So what that does is it gets that thing seen. So trust me, the hierarchy obviously aware of these things, right? They're aware of ENIC out and change for Tottenham and stuff. So despite the fact that the protest didn't work, the visibility already puts a bit more pressure on them from an online space and stuff like that. So they knew that the heat was turning on them, albeit as not as vociferously as maybe the previously, but it's already turning on them. So I think that definitely plays into the fact, Vivian got confronted by a fan, all that kind of stuff plays into it. So the attention's turning on them already, so they knew they had to act.
Absolutely. This Telegraph was saying that the Spurs players were given 5 days off before the club announced the sacking of Thomas Frank.
Oh.
It gives the club time to decide the best course of action and make an appointment in time for the new man
5 days
to take training from Monday in preparation with the North London derby. So basically, the players were given 5 days off from today.
Right, so they've just given him 5 days
Yeah.
off. Right. Okay. Interesting. I don't understand that.
But that's bullshit, because we heard that Johnny Heitinger's taking training today.
Yeah.
So I don't understand that.
Unless it's from tomorrow, I don't know. Well, surely there's no training today. It's day after a game, recovery, no? Unless it's training for the players who didn't play. But we don't have any players who didn't play.
But anyway, if that is true, that means the next day of training will be Monday. And I guess they're giving themselves these 5 days to get a manager in place.
I think on some sites, first of all, I do think Frank said he was going to give the players some days off. I think you remember I actually think he said it yesterday, did he? Or maybe in the pre-match press conference, because we got no game. Players should clear their minds, take the pressure off themselves. I think that's fair, because I think we're in a rut at the moment, and sometimes you just need a little break psychologically. So I think 5 days seems a bit much, but whatever. I'm not mad at that. But hopefully we take this time to get the right guy in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's that, people. 5.5 hours, guys. Go on.
Super chats we have. Have we read all of them?
No.